I'm George, and let me greet you on behalf of Georgian National University SEO from Tbilisi, Georgia. Within this video, I'm going to talk about Sustainable Development Goal number 8, which is decent work and economic growth. During my speech, I'm going to talk about the main targets of this goal, a little bit history, current situation, and then I will somehow summarize my speech. Let's start with the main priorities. The Sustainable Development Goal number 8 aims to promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment and decent work for all. It focuses on the achievement of high level of productivity and technological innovation, reduction of youth unemployment, elimination of forced labor, modern slavery, human trafficking, and protection of labor rights to ensure a safe and secure working environment. These priorities are divided in several targets, which have their own evaluation indicators. See these targets on the screen, and I'm going to list some of them. The first one is to sustain per capita economic growth in accordance with national circumstances, then to achieve high level of economic productivity, then to promote development-oriented policy, to improve progressively global resources efficiency, to achieve full and productive employment and decent work for everyone, for men, for women, including young people, for the people with disabilities, and so on. Then to reduce substantially the proportion of youth not in employment, education, or training. The seventh one is to eradicate forced labor, the modern slavery, and human trafficking, and secure the prohibition and elimination of the worst forms of child labor. Then to protect labor rights, then to strengthen the capacity of domestic financial institutions to increase aid of trade support, development, the global strategy for youth unemployment, to develop the tourist direction, and so on. Now, just a few words about the history of these goals and the main important points for the current stage. As you all aware, the Sustainable Development Goals were adopted in 2015, and implementation and development of this goals started from 2016. During this period of time, the world has encountered a number of obstacles that significantly hindered the achievement of these goals. Those notable of these were the Russia's invasion in democratic Ukraine, but the biggest and most influential one was the COVID pandemic. Although these crises are not yet fully recovered, the global economy is slowly recovering. However, an analysis of dynamics of development shows that activity may remain below pre-crisis level for a quite number of time. Now let me talk about in depth about these points listed here on the screen. And let's start with the global economic recovery. As you can see on the chart, global real GDP per capita was increasing from 2015 to 2019, then sharply declined in 2020 due to the COVID pandemic. Then it rebounded in 2021 and in 2022. As it was expected, growth had further dwindled in 2023, and we do hope it will be followed by a modest increase around in 1.6% in 2024. The interesting thing is that this trend was almost similar for developed countries, for developing countries, even for the least developed countries. The next point I would like to underline is the global unemployment and informal employment. The global unemployment rate declined significantly in 2022 as economies began recovering from the shock of the COVID-19 pandemic. It was declined further in 2023. The interesting thing is that this decline reflected stronger than expected labor market resilience in high-income countries, despite the economic slowdown. However, unfortunately, the same cannot be said about the low-income countries. The pandemic disproportionately affected women and youth in the labor markets. Women experienced a stronger recovery in employment and labor force participation than men. However, young people aged from 15 to 24 continues to face several difficulties in securing decent employment, and the global youth unemployment rate is rather much higher than the rate for adults. Also, before the pandemic, the incidence of informal employment has been slowly declining from 59% to 57, 58 from 2015 to 2019. However, COVID-19 lockdowns resulted in disproportionate job losses for informal workers, particularly women. The next interesting thing is that to talk about the people to be out of education, employment, or training. Across regions, the situation remains most dire for young people in Central Asia, Southern Asia, Northern Africa, Western Asia, with need rates around 31, 28, 29. Meanwhile, Sub-Saharan Africa recorded the highest rate increase, with no more than a quarter of young people in the region not in education, employment, or training. Alarmingly, young women remained more than twice as likely as young men not to be in education, employment, or training. On the next slide, you see two more points. This is the one is the tourism, and the next one is the financial inclusion. Tourism is the branch of economy was affected by COVID-19 pandemic most of all. For example, in 2020, the share of tourism in global GDP was nearly halved. There was a modest improvement in 2021, and it continues nowadays too. While this indicates that tourism is on the path of recovery, it is still considerably below the pre-pandemic level that we used to have in 2019, for example. Regarding the financial inclusion, about the pandemic, if I may say, as it was said, every cloud has a silver lining. What I mean, although the pandemic has claimed countless lives, almost ruined the economies of many countries, and etc., this challenge has given rise to a number of innovations that have had a positive impact on the availability of various types of services. This has also happened in the financial sector, where there has been an unprecedented development of online services, which made these services more reachable for everyone and more inclusive. On the next slide, as I promised, I'm going to somehow summarize my speech with several notifications that global economy recovery continues, but on a slow trajectory. About 2 billion workers are in precarious informal job without social protection. Global unemployment is expected to fall below pre-pandemic levels, but not in low-income countries. About 20% of people are not in education, employment, or training. And technology has played a crucial role in advancing financial inclusion. That was all for this time. And thank you for your kind attention, and goodbye.